right, welcome back to TCI headquarters. Our first preview prediction video of the season. We are finally here. We're going to give you some keys to the game, and then we're going to go on the record with scores. And hopefully, this is going to be a lot like it used to be, before the last two seasons. Where the offense was
when the offense
good.
when the offense scored 40,
Not
50
good.
points a game.
So I'm going to get back in my old
Oh
picking
boy!
steam
Oh
here.
no!
So hopefully I won't get burned like I did the last 2 years. So Cameron, I'm gonna start with you. What's the key you're looking for the game?
My key, I feel like it's been well documented, obviously, is trying to contain Riley Leonard and that offense. I mean, obviously, they know what they can do in the air, but when you have guys like Jeremiah Trotter and you've got Barrett Carter back there, I feel like their focus needs to be making sure he can't use his legs too often, because it's already a tough task for them to deal with the vertical part of that offense, but if he starts getting loose and then you've got to bring more guys into the box, it becomes a maze for them to deal with that offense. But I feel like they can do a good job of containing him. I feel like Wes Goodwin can make sure they've got all the pieces together for that, and it doesn't hurt having those two linebackers to be able to do that.
No,
So
it does not.
I think
Crash course.
I think if they can make sure that he doesn't have too dominant of a game on the ground, then they can lock down that offense.
Yeah, and what worries me about that though is that Clemson does play a lot of man, especially with their corners and their safeties, and so they'll have them out. So say it's 3rd and 8, and so you're gonna. I know Wes is going to bring some kind of pressure. He's going to bring at least one of those backers. He's going to do some different things, dial up maybe a safety blitz. Worries me is if he loses containment and everybody's running downfield,
Exactly.
that guy can go. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch the Pittsburgh game with Duke last year. And Pittsburgh's a very good defensive front, and their front sevens is almost as good as Clemson's. And he killed them with his legs, and he did the same thing to Miami. So that is my concern with him, is that he can really burn you on those 3rd and long situations. You get yourself to that point where you're like 3rd and long, you got him where you want him, and then he runs 20 yards for a first down. And then you're like, that's just demoralizing if you're defense.
You know what's great though?
What's that?
XT can catch him.
I think, well, if he's as fast as Barrett Carter said he is,
Yes.
he can catch him. So
Yeah, so we got him. We didn't have him last year.
Well, I'll tell you what, that presents an interesting proposition with the way the defense is going to play there, because obviously you want to be able to pin your ears back on a 3rd and 8, but you could almost
Contain.
tell Xavier Thomas to pass rush, but not go for the big wraparound pass rush, like use his speed.
Contain
He
your
goes
lanes.
Back there, he's
Yeah.
gone. So if he can just stay in front of his guy and trust those guys on the back end, and let's say it's a blitz where they're sending Barrett Carter into the middle, then he's going to be able to put the pressure there and make sure that XT and Maskell, for example, are there to make sure to keep that contained. But I think it'll be interesting to see how Wes Goodwin plays those 3rd downs, because, as you said, you don't want to get burnt for a 20-yard run. So do you want to put the trust on the back end of your defense to cover for 5 or 6 seconds and put that faith that you can get that stop?
I think that's what you do, because we don't. They're skill players. There's nobody that scares me really, other than the tight end. And I think that's got to be a key to this game. And if you're Wes Goodwin, I think you were right. That's what you do. You're like, hey guys, let's cover on the back end. Let's force them to make plays at wide receiver and in the passing game, instead of letting that quarterback just kill us with his legs.
All right, Will, what's your key?
Yeah, on the offensive side, look, this is what Mike Elko, first of all, this guy, they run the 4-2-5, and they run it the whole game for the most part. It doesn't matter who they play. This is pretty much his scheme, his base defense, and he's going to stand guys up. Like, you're going to see defensive tackles standing up over the center. You're going to see defensive ends, you're not knowing where they're going. Are they playing Mike? Who's the Mike linebacker? Who's playing defensive end? So he does all that to confuse the quarterback. But the number one goal is he wants to stop the run, and he wants to with Clemson, he's going to put 8 in the box, and he's going to dare Clemson to beat him with the pass. So for me, the key is for Clemson not to go away from the running game, because when you see those numbers and you see what it looks like, Streeter did this last year too much, and Tony Elliott was guilty of it too in his final years as OC. They would see those numbers and they get so excited and they want to throw the ball. And it's okay, cool, but let's let those receivers let's see what those receivers could do first before we rely on them. I think Clemson needs to stick to the running game, because I still think they could run the ball on Duke, because Duke doesn't have the size to match with that offensive line. And I think Clemson can still pound the football and run it. So don't go away from the running game. Feed Will Shipley the rock. If that's what he learned from the South Carolina game last year, is feed that guy. Don't go away from him. Stick to the running game. I think they'll be fine.
All right, so you're going with the dirt raid.
Dirt raid, man. Let's go.
Dirt raid. That's a new term this year. All right, my key to the game is going to be get a quick start. First quarter, I think, is going to be huge. Clemson's got all this hype, all this excitement, new offense, this, that, and the other. Confidence, talking about not just, hey, let's beat Duke, let's win the national championship. So I think it's going to be important for Clemson to get off to an early start, a good start, keep that confidence level up. Well, we've been to games at Duke before where Duke had no fans in the stands. They were playing well, hanging in there with Clemson. And then all of a sudden, second half, you see all these Duke students and fans start showing up.
Yeah.
Don't expect that to be the case Monday night. But I think it's important for Clemson to get off to a good start and kind of keep that confidence going.
And there'll be a lot of orange in the stadium.
Well,
we know
that was
that.
going to be one of my questions is, will there be more Duke blue in the stadium or orange? Previous years, it's always been
More orange.
more orange. I think, Duke's programs
Half and half.
trying a little more exciting. So
It'll be like Wake Forest
I
last
don't
year.
think it'll be. I don't think Clemson will have more fans there, but they'll have their normal, really good crowd.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot like Wake Forest was last year, where you saw there was a, Wake Forest, that stadium holds the 40,000 at that. And so I think, you saw like almost 20,000 Clemson fans. It was almost half and half. So it'll be somewhere of that nature, I think. So.
All right, now we're going to go on the limb. We're going to give you our first predictions. Hopefully we have an offense to get back to giving some better predictions.
I'm interested to see your prediction. That's what I mean, because what you were telling us before we got going, I'm interested to see.
I think fans can probably guess. But
Yeah, I got a feeling.
Cameron, we're going to let you go first.
Okay,
What's your score prediction?
Okay, so don't jump off the rails immediately when I say it, but I'm going to go 31-24.
That's it. I'm not done.
Okay. No. So it's a touchdown game, so you're like, oh, well, but I think Clemson gets off to that quick start you were talking about. I think they have a strong performance, but as we've said, you have to respect this Duke team and what Riley Leonard can do in that offense. And I think they make sure they get it. They make it a nail biter late, and they put some pressure on. But I think Clemson's able to run the clock out late. Maybe it'll be like a 31-17 in the third or fourth quarter, and then the Blue Devils come knocking back on the door. But Clemson's able to make sure they shut it down. But no, I think you have to respect this Duke team, and that's why I'm keeping it a touchdown game.
You haven't been to games with me before, but if it's a 7-point game, this guy's going to be miserable.
I've warned him. He's been warned.
Oh, I have
Miserable. All right, Will, tell me you're going to pick Clemson to win by more than 7.
Yes, I'm going to pick Clemson to win by more than 7, but I do believe they don't cover. So the line is, as of today, is 13 points, 12.5, depending on what you're looking at. That to me, at 12, that's a difficult line because, again, I think Duke's a pretty darn good football team. They won 9 games last year. And they average over 30 points a game, so they got a pretty good offense. They're bringing most of those guys back, so they're going to be challenged for Clemson's defense. On the other side, I just think they're going to be better. I mean, man, you look at what Mike Elko did in 1 year. He took them from being the worst defense in the ACC to being average in one season and really increased their sacks from hardly nothing. Went they were again in the middle of the pack and getting pressure to the quarterback. So I think, you got to respect what he's done and what, like you said, Riley Leonard as a quarterback and his playmaking ability. With that said, though, I think Clemson's going to score 30 points. I think they'll get there around that 30 mark. Could score more. I wouldn't be surprised. And I think, Duke, like you said, gets a score late, kind of makes it look a little closer than maybe it was. So I'm thinking, maybe it's 30-13 late, and they get a touchdown, make it 30-20. So I'm gonna go 30-20 Clemson. A backdoor cover for Duke, if you will.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least we got both wins.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go a little higher than that. I know that's shocking to the fans that have followed TCI over the years. I'm not going to go as high as I would 2 years ago, but I think this team is going to be one of the best Clemson's had under Dabo.
How about that?
I think the defense will definitely be one of the best. I'm hopeful, I guess, on the offensive side with Cade and
Because we haven't seen it.
the weapons and the new, I'm really excited about what Riley can do. Some of the stuff we've heard in camp. So I think the offense is going to score some points. I think the Tigers are going to win this one easily. I'm going to go Clemson 42, Duke 17.
Okay, it's not as bad as I thought you were going to do. I thought you were going to
Trust me, I thought about going higher.
He was already going to go 50.
I thought he was going to throw a 50 burger on
I
us.
thought about going a 50 burger, but I'm not. And the reason I didn't is because it's game 1.
Yeah.
Game 1, you're going to have some mistakes.
Correct.
Right? First
Yeah,
time you're
absolutely.
playing, there's going to be some mistakes on both sides. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we're coming back here next week and we're like, oh my gosh, we were all wrong. Clemson, won by 30.
Scored
but
63 points on
Yeah,
them.
that'd be great.
South Carolina fans hate when I bring that
Hopefully
number
we
up.
can make the walk from the field all the way to the locker room where they do the post game. Dabo's talked a lot about that this week. Got a little flack for that, I think. But
For no reason.
It's true. It is a hike. It's kind of like, you see it some
Oh my gosh, dude, it's a horrible hike.
other places.
It's a hike for us, remember, because I don't know if this year will be the same, but remember we had to do our media. We had to leave the press box and go down there. So we had to do the hike too. So Dabo's telling the truth. It is a walk.
Yeah, it's a good bit of a hike, but it is. I mean, it's a beautiful campus, beautiful place to visit, and hopefully Clemson fans have a good weekend. Hopefully Clemson offense lives up to the hype, and the good news is we'll be there. Bart will be there. We got the best photographer in the state will be there for us, and we'll have everything covered for you guys all Monday night, Tuesday, aftermath. Quick turnaround next week as we get ready for game 2. But I appreciate you guys staying tuned to the Clemson Insider. Make sure you check out our new message board if you haven't. Very new look, much better on mobile, much better on iPad, other devices. So check that out. We'll have a lot of, if you're not at the game, you can go on there and have some good discussions with your fellow Clemson fans. But thanks for checking us out. Stay tuned to the Clemson Insider for the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics.
Hey Clemson fans, make sure to check out Clemson Insider for all your athletic coverage. Nobody does it better.